Welcome to the School of the Lost Tribes. Your charity helps generate the lessons needed to seal the chosen before the destruction. Judah versus Jews for Dummies, clearing up the confusion. If you grew up hearing that Jew and Israelite mean the same thing, don't worry, you're not alone. Most people, including preachers, confuse these terms, but the Bible makes a clear distinction. To understand who the Bible is really talking about, especially in the New Testament, we have to untangle the difference between Judah and Jews. Who is Judah? Judah was one of the 12 sons of Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, Genesis 32:28. That makes Judah one of the original 12 tribes of Israel. His descendants form the tribe of Judah. Later, during the time of King Solomon's son, Rehoboam, the nation of Israel was split into two kingdoms. The northern kingdom, 10 tribes, which kept the name Israel. The southern kingdom, 2 tribes, made up of Judah and Benjamin, which became known as Judah. This is a major turning point in Bible history. From that moment on, Israel and Judah became 2 separate nations, and they often fought each other. You can read about this split in 1 Kings 12:16-20. Who are the Jews? The word Jew is a shortened form of Judahite, meaning someone from the kingdom or tribe of Judah. So when the Bible refers to Jews, it is not talking about all 12 tribes of Israel. It's talking about the people from the southern kingdom, mainly Judah, and sometimes Benjamin and Levites who joined them. This is like saying someone is a Texan. That tells you where they're from in America, but it doesn't mean every American is a Texan. Likewise, all Jews are Israelites, but not all Israelites are Jews. What happened to the other tribes? The northern kingdom of Israel was conquered by the Assyrians around 722 BC, see 2 Kings 17:6, and the people were taken into captivity. These tribes became known as the lost sheep of the house of Israel, because they were scattered and forgot their identity. Jesus referred to them when he said, "I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel." Matthew 15:24. He wasn't talking about the Jews, Judahites, in Judea, because they knew who they were. He was talking about the lost 10 tribes who had been scattered across the nations and had mixed into the Gentiles. Why this matters in the New Testament. In the New Testament, you'll often see the words Jew and Gentile. Most Christians are taught that this means Jews and everyone else. But here's the twist. Many of those Gentiles were actually scattered Israelites from the northern kingdom. Paul confirms this in places like Romans 9:24-26, where he quotes Hosea, referring to Israelites who were once not a people, being called sons of God again. These are the Israelites from the northern kingdom being restored, not random non-Israelites. So when Paul says things like, "There is neither Jew nor Greek, for ye are all one in Christ Jesus," Galatians 3:28, he is not saying race doesn't matter. He is saying that both the southern kingdom, Judah Jews, and the northern kingdom, often called Greeks or Gentiles, are now reunited through Christ. This is the reunification of the whole house of Israel, not a new universal religion for the whole world. Don't fall for the word trap. One of the biggest tricks used in modern religion is language. People think that if someone in the Bible is called a Jew, they must represent all of Israel. But that's just not true. Judah was only one part of Israel. The real story of the Bible is about both houses, Judah and Israel, being restored together in the end. Conclusion. If you've been using the terms Jew and Israelite like they're the same thing, now you know better. Judah was just one tribe. The Jews are descendants of the southern kingdom. The other tribes, the ones Jesus called lost, are still being awakened and gathered. Understanding this isn't just about history. It's about identity, prophecy, and salvation. Because once you know who's who in the Bible, you'll finally understand who it's really written to. And that changes everything. Judah versus Samaria for Dummies. Why these two matter in the Bible. If you're new to the Bible or just trying to understand who's who in Israelite history, the names Judah and Samaria might seem like they're just 2 cities or tribes. But there's a big difference between them, and it's crucial for understanding the New Testament, prophecy, and who the lost sheep really are. Let's break it down as simply as possible. The quick summary. Judah equals Southern Kingdom of Israel. 2 tribes, Judah plus Benjamin. Samaria equals capital of the Northern Kingdom of Israel, 10 tribes. They were once one nation, but after a big family breakup, they split, and that changed everything. What is Judah? Judah is one of the original 12 tribes of Israel, descended from Judah, the 4th son of Jacob. After King Solomon died, the nation of Israel split into 2 kingdoms. Judah became the southern kingdom, made up of the tribes of Judah and Benjamin. The capital city of Judah was Jerusalem. These people later became known as Jews, short for Judahites. Read about this in 1 Kings 12. What is Samaria? Samaria was the capital city of the northern kingdom of Israel, made up of the other 10 tribes, like Ephraim, Manasseh, Reuben, etc. So when the Bible says Samaria, it often refers to the whole northern kingdom, not just the city. The 10 tribes that split from Judah and Benjamin, a people who were eventually conquered and scattered. 2 Kings 17:6. Because of this, Samaria became associated with apostate Israel, the tribes who went off into idol worship and eventually lost their identity. What happened to each kingdom? Judah, southern kingdom, stayed in Jerusalem longer. They had more good kings and remained somewhat faithful longer. Eventually they were taken into Babylonian captivity, but came back, Nehemiah, Ezra. Samaria, northern kingdom, was conquered earlier by Assyria, around 722 BC. The 10 tribes were taken away and never returned as a whole. That's why they're called the lost tribes of Israel. Jesus later refers to these people as the lost sheep of the house of Israel, Matthew 15:24. That's Samaria's descendants. Real-life analogy. Imagine one country splitting into 2 parts. The South stays in the capital, holds on to tradition, and keeps their national identity. The North moves away, mixes with other cultures, and loses their name and history. That's Judah versus Samaria. Why does this matter in the New Testament? When Jesus is preaching and traveling, he goes to Judah, the Jews who still knew who they were. But he also aims to reach Samaria. John 4, the woman at the well, because many of her people were Israelites who had lost their identity. When he said, "Ye shall be witnesses unto me in Jerusalem, and in all Judea, and in Samaria, and unto the uttermost part of the earth." Acts 1:8. He wasn't randomly naming places. He was listing out Israel, Judah, then Samaria, the 10 tribes, and then the rest of their scattered descendants among the nations. Key Bible facts. 1 Kings 12, the split between Judah and the 10 tribes. 2 Kings 17, the fall of Samaria to Assyria. John 4, the Samaritan woman who recognized the Messiah. Ezekiel 23, Judah and Samaria described as 2 sisters, both unfaithful to God. Conclusion. Judah and Samaria were 2 halves of one broken family. Judah kept its identity. Samaria got lost in the nations. But the Bible promises they'll be reunited again in the last days. Ezekiel 37:16-22. So the next time you hear Judah and Samaria, don't think 2 cities. Think 2 houses, 2 pieces of one chosen nation that the Most High is putting back together again. Who are the original inhabitants of Gaza, for dummies? And were they from Ham or Shem? Short answer. The original people who lived in Gaza were from the line of Ham, not Shem. They were Canaanites, specifically the Philistines, who came from Ham's son, Mizraim, Egypt. Where is Gaza? Gaza is a city on the southern coast of ancient Canaan, right near the Mediterranean Sea. It was one of 5 major cities of the Philistines, a well-known enemy of Israel in the Bible. Who was Ham? Ham was one of the 3 sons of Noah. His children became the fathers of African and Canaanite nations. His main sons were Cush, Ethiopia/Sudan region, Mizraim, Egypt, Put, Libya, Canaan, Canaanites. Genesis 10:6-14 lists all of these nations. Where did the Philistines come from? The Philistines, the people of ancient Gaza, came from Mizraim, the son of Ham. Genesis 10:13-14 says, "And Mizraim begat Ludim, and Anamim, and Lehabim, and Naphtuhim, and Pathrusim, and Casluhim, out of whom came Philistim," Philistines. This means the Philistines, and therefore the original people of Gaza, were descended from Ham through Mizraim, Egypt. Are they Shemites? Number. The Shemites, descendants of Shem, include the Israelites, descended from Jacob, the Assyrians, the Arameans, Syrians, the Elamites, Persians, and other Semitic peoples. So the people of Gaza were not Shemites, they were Hamites. Why does this matter biblically? Understanding who lived where and who descended from who helps us see why the Israelites were commanded to drive out certain nations, Deuteronomy 7:1-2. Why there was constant war between Israel and the Philistines, like David versus Goliath. Why Gaza is historically outside the covenant line of Shem and Abraham. The promised land was given to the descendants of Abraham through Isaac and Jacob, not to the Canaanites or Philistines. Summary statement. The original inhabitants of Gaza were the Philistines, descendants of Ham's son, Mizraim, Egypt. They were Hamites, not Shemites, and they were longtime enemies of Israel in the Bible. Where does the name Palestine come from? For dummies, was it in the Bible? Who made it up? Short answer. The name Palestine comes from the word Philistine, an ancient enemy of Israel. It was not a name used by God or the Israelites. It was made popular by Roman emperors to erase the memory of Israel. Who were the Philistines? The Philistines were descendants of Ham via Mizraim, Casluhim, Philistim. Genesis 10:13-14. Seafaring people who settled along the coast of Canaan, today's Gaza area. Constant enemies of Israel. See stories like David and Goliath in 1 Samuel 17. In Hebrew, they were called Peleshet, which is where the later name Palestine comes from. When did the name Palestine start being used? The original Bible lands were called Canaan before Israel conquered it. Israel, after the 12 tribes took the land. Judah, when the kingdom split. But after the Israelites rebelled and were taken captive, things changed. In 135 AD, the Roman Emperor Hadrian renamed the land Syria Palestina. This was after crushing the Judean revolt at Bar Kokhba. He did it to erase all memory of the Israelites and their connection to the land. This renaming was a political insult, not a geographical correction. So where did Palestinian come from? Originally, Palestinian meant someone from the region the Romans renamed. It had nothing to do with a nation or ethnicity. In modern times, 1900s onward, Arab populations living in that area began to adopt the term Palestinian for themselves. But this is a modern political identity, not a biblical one. There is no ancient nation called Palestine in the Bible. There is no man named Palestine in any lineage. It's a colonial term, created to replace the name Israel. Real-life analogy. Imagine if someone conquered France, kicked out the French people, and renamed it Germany land to erase French identity. That's what Rome did to Israel by calling it Palestine. Key Bible points. God never called the land Palestine. He called it the land of Canaan, or land of Israel. The Israelites were commanded to drive out the Philistines, not blend with them. The term Palestine shows up in the King James Bible only once, Joel 3:4, and even there it means Philistia, the land of the Philistines, not a nation. Summary statement. The name Palestine was created by Rome, not God. It was meant to erase Israel's identity after the Jews revolted. It comes from the ancient Philistines, Israel's enemies. Today, Palestinian is a modern term, not a biblical one. The Bible never gave that land to the Philistines or anyone else, but to the children of Israel.